Here you are. I've been looking for you. How are you feeling today? I am Tessa-Marie and welcome to the Morning Blessings. It is Tuesday, November 19, 2024, 7:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another beautiful, amazing, and fabulous day. That day that is there for us. And we have a wonderful topic this morning. Our topic is coming to us because sometimes we forget that where there are many... Oh, hello, sister, you're number one. Where there are many counselors, the people will thrive. Where there are people... Good morning, calling number 2. My 2 favorite people. How are you guys feeling this morning? It is a wonderful morning. Yeah, and I've been waiting for you. Here you are. I've been looking for you guys. It's 8 o'clock, so let's get the show on the road. Where there are good morning, Nancy. How are you feeling this morning? Where there are many counselors, the people will thrive. Proverbs says it the other way. It's chapter 11, verse 14 in Proverbs. But this is how I got it. So I am not using the proverb actual words. I'm using it as it was downloaded. Where there are many counselors, the people will thrive. Wow. Nowadays, in this internet world of digital, press the button, get the answer. Do this, do that, get the answer. We don't go for counseling. We go to YouTube for counseling. We go to everywhere, but where we should get counseling. Where there are counselors, many counselors, the people will thrive. What does that mean? That means we are in a world where we do not know it all. Our world has changed. The world of the family unit, the grandmother, the mothers, the great-grandmother, the neighbors. You know how they always said, a village raises a child. This is gone. We don't have that anymore. And sometimes people come for counseling after they have hit that concrete wall. They hit that spot and they're dazed. And it's only when they hit their head on that wall that is immovable. Flesh against stone. It doesn't go too well for flesh. And sometimes, just sometimes, they will get out of that shock and realize, hey, I need to go get some counseling. I am not talking or referring to the counseling where you sit and this person is telling you all of that. Or they're listening to you and you're lying there and you're just talking all that is deep within you. I'm speaking about counselors. 2 types. The one that we all think is our human counselors. But there are other counselors that are given to us as gifts. We got these amazing gifts of angels around us, energy around. Not even if you cannot feel the energy of an angel, but you can feel the energy when you go outside. And for that reason, I ask, go out there in the universe, in the moments when most heads are still asleep. Good morning, Deborah. How are you feeling this morning? When most heads are down on their pillow, but your head is upright. And you look up and you see nothing, but maybe the stars, maybe the moon still hasn't gone to sleep. That time, that magical time, or you can't go outside because it's way too cold, but you put your nose close to the window and you inhale the energy. It is different. So what I'm pushing you and I and all of us to realize, where there are many counselors, the people will thrive. Good morning, Deborah. How are you feeling today? The counselors are all around us. And sometimes we're too busy or we know it all. And as I said at the beginning, in the beginning, the counselors were the parents, not even the parents, so much so the grandparents. Many people you will hear them talk today that have been successful and older, excuse me, not very old, maybe in their 40s or 50s, and they will say to you, my grandmother said this. My grandfather did this. And when they do that, that is telling you that they got counseled. Now, many times when we go for counseling of that kind from the grandparents or the village elder, it wasn't everything they said that day that stayed with us. It was just that one thing we needed. But their story had to unfold. They had to tell you what it is you must do, or when they changed their life, when they started to realize they were a seer and they were no longer a seeker, that they had oodles and doodles of wisdom. Because wisdom is quiet. Wisdom does not flutter. Wisdom is not wild. Wisdom doesn't shout. Wisdom stands still and observe and listen. Wisdom acts only when it's appropriate to go in. When we look at counseling and wisdom, we refer to Solomon. And he said, what do you want? Give me the wisdom for me to lead so great a people. And with that, according to the scriptures, it said God gave him wisdom and all the wealth that is still not able to be counted in today's money. Good morning, Loretta. How are you feeling this morning? And then he said, you will have your wisdom. That's what you asked. But I'm going to put all of this on you. Wealth and long life. Prosperity. All he wanted was wisdom so that he can guide the people that he was supposed to guide. And you do not have to buy it. You do not have to look for it. You have to internalize what it is you're going to do with this life. And if you need counselors, not the one that you go and sit on your couch, not that one, then you look for your counselors in your angels. And okay, some of us do not believe in saints, but a lot of us listen to the song of St. Francis of Assisi. You know, what did he say in that song? He said to us when we sing it, though. I should see if I can find it, because it is worth realizing what her powerful wisdom is. He said so many things that in that one song, St. Francis, and if I can get it, yeah, here we go. I hope I can get it. I'm not getting it. So the thing I'm trying to say is, remember that he gave us those moments and he told us that maybe he was an amazing human being and maybe he had that wonderful thing in him that we can use. And when we use it, the song, he speaks about, grant me, how did he say it? The grace to love before I expect to be loved. You know, when everywhere you go nowadays, everybody's singing it. I would just like to get the words to bring it out a little bit more. It's called the Prayer of St. Francis, but you know, everything on Google nowadays, you have to pay for it. Wow. I'm so sorry. I had it and I lost it. And now, if I want it, I would have to pay a price for it. So this is, you maybe won't hear it. But he said, make me a channel of your peace. So he asked us, good morning. And he said, where there is hatred, let me bring your love. And he was a holy man. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. So where somebody injures you, you go and you give them a little bit of it. It's counseling. Where there is doubt, true faith in you. Doubt keeps us from getting where we want to go. And then he said, make me a channel of your peace over and over again. And peace is so important, but it's in counseling that we're able to get that type of thing. You go to, where there is despair, let me bring hope. That is powerful. Where there is darkness, only light. One human being asking for all of that. And then he said, where there is sadness, ever joy. When you lose a friend like Nancy did, or you lose a family member, you have to remember the joy. Grant that I may never seek, right? Can you imagine so much to be consoled as to console another? That is part of counseling. And then he said, to be understood as to understand. Sometimes we have to understand what that human being is enduring. To be loved as to love with all my soul. That is deep. You know, so many of those things is part of counseling. And he talks about it over and over again. Good morning, Yuko. And then he said, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned. When we pardon somebody, that is when we are pardoned. When we forgive, that is when we forgive. In giving of ourselves, that we receive. So you have some counseling to do. You need to talk to someone, but you do not do it. And in dying, that we are born to eternal life. It's not the dying you think of, but when you give it all to another person, you're empty. So this is one of those things we have to remember. I said, where there are many counselors, the people will thrive. A lot of people have something they can share, and they do not need to spare it. I need the prayer of St. Francis I read at my mom's celebration of life. Yes, Dawn said that was our mother's favorite song. And can hear the song. It is beautiful, Mommy's favorite song. It was. But she was a counselor. Maybe Nancy, your mother was like that. She always had to help somebody. We have more adopted siblings than we have siblings because of my mother. She just took in the mon and the parish, and she adopted them. When a helper died, we adopted the baby. When this one came along, whose child? I don't know, but he's hanging around, feed him, and put one more cup of rice, put one more piece of dashing or some of the other provisions they used, and feed them. So counseling is not only speaking. You counsel by your essence. What have you done for somebody today that is going to enable them to be better than when they met you? And the first time they walked into your life, what it is that you did to them. Because a counselor, when you counsel people, you enable them to thrive. And in all of your counseling, sometimes we counsel our children and we think it didn't catch. But something stays. And they will say, my mom always said that, even if they are not a happy human being. And even if they're angry at you, you talk to one of their friends, they always reference you and all the things you do. And that is something we have to understand, that counseling doesn't mean everything I say when I get here is all for you. That's why I divided it into 3 things: the nugget, the black pearl, and the rare pink Canadian diamond. Which one do you have? Somebody will look and they will say, the nugget is not important. Another one will say, oh yeah, that nugget was the best for me. When I got the nugget, it had many crevices. And that could be, listen to the song of St. Francis. That's a nugget. That's all I said. Let's hear it. And then the verses have so many little pieces of things to put together. The crevices in a nugget. A golden nugget has holes. It's rough. You have to go into the crevices to get the true meaning of all those words. So what was your golden nugget today? When I split it, Don said, Mommy's favorite song. Nancy said, I read the prayer of St. Francis at my mom's celebration of her life. Really? Look at what it did. It allowed Nancy to stop for a moment and take in that day. Did Nancy remember something her mother said to her that day? Before she died, before she passed? Was there something her mom said to her in a moment that made her realize, I have to give it. She was that woman that preferred to understand rather than to be understood. It's by giving that we end up, all of those little words. And Dawn hears it, and I can hear it. It reminds me of Mommy. That was Mommy's favorite song. Why? Did you ask her, why do you love it so much? Because that's what I mean by counseling. We need to realize that it's not lying on a couch and a person taking notes of what you're saying is counseling. Is you having something, a gift, a talent, a knowledge, some wisdom. And you are the one that you see your friend going down the valley of no return. She's going to crash or he's going to crash and burn. And you take a lasso, that's your counseling, and you pull them back and say, hey, this is not going to end well. That is counseling. Or saying, think before you speak. Accept others as they are. All of that is counseling. They're unique. They were specifically created to be this person. And to try to undo them is telling your God that he failed when he created them. Many times people come to me and they say, my children are like this, or my children. And I go, you know what? And one person said those words to me. I did not raise that child to be like this. And I said, there is something called nature. And no amount of nurturing is going to change the nature of that human being. Number one, you have to remember that you did not conceive that person by yourself. There are going to be qualities and traits, DNA that you cannot fix. And they are the ones that you remember from the spouse with whom you conceived that person. It's funny. We forget that it did not take only us to put this human being on earth. So when they're crashing, we go, oh my God. And you get angry. And sometimes if you're smart enough, you might say, you know what? Those qualities remind me of their father, their mother. And it's true. And you could try to nurture that out of this nature of this human being, you won't win. And therefore, for peace of mind and love of self, you have to say, it is as it is. They are as they are. God created them uniquely to be themselves. And then you counsel yourself with ancient words. Not really ancient, but what Mahatma Gandhi said. You become the change you desire. That's counseling self. You cannot make them be what you designed for them. There's no way you can do that. It's not possible. But when you go and you fall on your knees and you're saying to the God you worship, change them. Change them. This is not Amazon. God is not your Amazon. God created them to be who they are. You can ask God to help me to accept them. Counseling. And let them be and see if they will turn back. Even on the last day or when they hit a wall. And they say, you know what, my mom knows how to do that. My dad knows how to do that. So whatever we are doing with this part of counseling, where there are many counselors, the people will thrive. Where you can give an advice. Counseling is not, as I said, you heard your friend pronounce a word incorrectly and you help them in a way to find out how to say it. That's counseling. You're helping your friend to thrive. I wrote the word gift and it came out with an E. It's not that I cannot spell it, but my fingers did the shopping. Don't call to say, can you change it? No, I tried. I cannot change it. That was created that day for a purpose, for us to use for an example today of what it is you can change and what you cannot change. And the thing we allow is other people's opinion to cause us to change the way we are. So we can give them a taste of their own medicine. That is not your place. That is not anybody's place. They will get their medicine themselves. They will create that feeling that will cause them to correct. They will course correct. And you have to allow them to course correct. Your job is to stay and be yourself and give the counseling that you can give to others, and do it as often as you can. And that is what matters. Where there are counselors, the people will thrive. Our job is to be the Solomon of the world today. Our job is to stop and think. It's in my gratitude journal. It's in my goal setting journal. This is what it is. Is my action in this moment going to take me closer or further away from my dreams, goals, and desires? Just before you pull the trigger, not literally a gun, but just before you pull the trigger of your tongue, counsel yourself. Read and learn from others. Practice what others have done that enabled them to do that. But do not allow the behavior of others from the outside affect how you behave from the inside. Because all that we are comes from inside out, not from outside in. We have a choice. On a very horrible snow day, or a coming horrible snow day, they tell us, hey, tomorrow is going to be this. If you do not have to be out on the road, don't be out on the road. They're counseling us. That is counseling. So we can thrive. So we do not end up in an accident on a slippery, snowy route. What do? Knowing that, being prepared, you go and you shop for the things you need and you hunker down for tomorrow. While the blizzard is raging outside, you walk to the window, fold your arms and you smile. You look at that snow and you might see it beautiful. The person walking in it because they have no choice, or who has to show up at work, a doctor, a nurse, somebody else, a business that cannot shut down, they have seen it differently than you. So counseling, we got the information. And maybe their bosses told them, come tomorrow with overnight clothes. We'll put you up in a hotel. You're so valuable. Counseling, all of that is counseling. It's not only the long hallelujah thing. Freedom to take the advice or not. We all know of those when it's the worst weather, they drive like it's a summer day. And then they live to regret it. Did they heed the counseling? So somebody told me, sometimes they started 1,300, 1,400, millions. Somebody told me that. And then they start the tale. Somebody warned me, but I paid no heed. It's not a warning, it's counseling. They use their wisdom to feed you. Wisdom makes you sit down and take a cup of tea. You can know when you reach that valiant place called wisdom. You almost embrace the cup. And you mightn't sip on it for a minute. You might sip and you might linger the liquid in your mouth for a minute. And you will just rock with the energy of the earth around you. That is what wisdom does. And if you doubt me, remember the older generation. What did they do? They accepted moving slower. They sat and they looked. They might take a snooze or maybe not. And if you say something to them and you want to visit with them and you want to question them and ask them what it is you did when you were 15. What was life like? And then you might be blessed for that person to open up and say, hey, this is how we did it. This is what happened then. And you are still blessed when the counselor is telling you, do not be like me. When the counselor said, hey, stop. Remember, I fell down that path. I walked into that hole. I cracked my ankle. I am telling you, counselors, not to do that. Or the counselor, the one that we should really pay attention to is the counselor that has a tale of regret. That one is dangerous. That one is needed, though, for us to live a fulfilled life. The counselor that looks at you and says, you know, I was like you once. I reacted like you. But what I know for sure, it did not enhance my life. I did not get what I was looking for. I told my sister yesterday about the young man who wanted to be a monk, an extraordinary monk. And he went to the Buddhist temple and he asked the Buddhist leader, what should I do to become a master? And how long will it take me? 10 years was the reply. And he said to him, what about if I do it 10 hours a day? He said, 15 years. He said, well, if I devote my entire day to it, 25 years. And he couldn't understand why the more time he put into it, the longer it took him to get it. Does anybody know why? You know why? Because that is not the only thing you have to do in life to live a fulfilled life. So you're putting all of that in there, and all of the rest is falling apart. Whereas if you took your time and you did a little bit every day, you will get there sooner. Remember, I always say, go slower to get there faster. And that is what it is, to live that fulfilled life of having the counselors. The counselors are constant, right? The counselors are all around us. So the two things that Nancy wrote and Dawn wrote, so this is going on the internet. Maybe in a year, somebody might come across it and say, what is that song of St. Francis? And that, because you wrote that, can change somebody's life. You don't know that. You will never know that. I will never know that unless that person digs you up and says, who are you? Were you that? You see what I mean? So even when we are not actually going to give counseling, we counsel. And that's why we have to be careful. Doubt and fear, he talked about it. To let go and to forgive and realize the only person, and as selfish as it seems, we have the honor and the privilege to concentrate on self, the only self. There is 10,000 million people watching you. Yes, they are. There are thousands and thousands of people watching you, because your perfume will last and they'll say, hi, Loretta passed here, Yuko was here, Nancy passed here, Dawn passed here. I can smell the fragrance they leave behind. Do you want that fragrance to be the one they want more of? Then you have to change something. But if you think that your horrible attitude is the fragrance they want, you'll be sorely mistaken. They'll say, oh no, oh no, oh no. Or they'll give you a name. So we have to learn to be the cream and always rise to the top and give counseling with a kind way. And sometimes a smile is very, very disarming. The person that comes at you with all guns bearing and blasting, and you just smile, and they might be, why are you smiling? It can go two ways, right? It can get worse because they're now angry. You smile. Or they can say, you know what, what's my point? I'm wasting my breath on this person. They're not going to get anything. I'm not going to get anything out of them. That is what happens. So counseling is part of our daily living. We do it by what we leave behind and what we do now, not the future. Not the future. The past is history. That's history. That's how you behave then. That's a history. It says there. The present is now. What gift are you giving in the moment of counseling? And do not get too tied up in tomorrow, because the future is a mystery. Nobody knows how it unfolds. No matter how good you are at it, we still don't know how the future unfolds. Let me see if I have your comments here. I did. She said, sweetheart, listen to the words, not the music. Wow, isn't that nice? Go slow to go further. You could remember that. Imprinted on my brain and heart. It is. You have to remember that. We have to remember to go slow to go further. And Nancy read that song at her mom's funeral. So, the 1,500,000 people, the millions of people that hear you, you do not know how you affect them, but you do. If all you do after the journey called life, you realize, oh my God, I changed one life. Ooh, I did my part. That's all you must remember. Now, we're going to close in a minute, but when you do that, when you affect that life of that person, guess what happens? You opened one of your gift boxes. You know the boxes, those who don't know the story, bridal paper, thick, shiny, white bridal paper wrapped around these boxes, tied with royal blue ribbons, big and bold and shiny. And every day they come. We have tons of them in a lifetime. I wonder if they're all for us, or if they are our way of counseling it out to the 15 million people that are hearing us. Right now, the tens and thousands of people that are listening. When we pull the ribbon open and we tear the paper off the box, and all we see inside of it is something that we have to give to somebody else. I wonder how many of these that are left untied, still cold. So if you have things you know and you can do, you don't have to force it on somebody, but you be a counselor. And maybe in that particular person you're aiming to counsel, you might have to go around the mulberry bush. You can't go straight at them because they will resent it, because many people believe they know everything. And if you feel you should and you have that yearning to do that, seek guidance. You get counseling. You go to your guardian angel and say, you know, I really need to do this. Talk with the guardian angel of that human being. Just don't even say what you're looking for. Please communicate, and so that it's easier for me. You have to. Do not tell them to fix the person. Nobody fixes anything for you. You want something fixed, you better get your screwdriver and your hammer and knock it out. You're on your own. So, have a great and wonderful Tuesday morning. It is chilly today. So let's see the 5 of you that are still hanging on there. Hi, Deborah, darling, Dawn, Yukol, Nancy. Thank you so much for watching and being, and Loretta. Thank you for being here with me. You know what? You guys, there are 5 of you. So let's add some zeros to that. So let us say 5 million people are going to see this. Counseling. It's limitless. We don't know. We might touch 500 miles. It's a pity that your words cannot stay, but I read them out so they can say, I read the prayer of St. Francis at my mom's celebration of life. I can hear the sound. It is beautiful. Mommy's favorite song. And then you said later, Yuko said she got a pink diamond today. And you said, I did. She said, sweetheart, listen to the words and not the music. And that's what we have to remember. Go slow to go further. Imprinted on my brain and my heart. That is powerful. Thank you, Tessa. Have a fabulous day. Thanks, Nancy. Guys, I appreciate you, and I'm happy and grateful that I am blessed to the honor and the privilege to get downloaded with topics like my fingers are not hurting. But if I don't write, my shoulder hurts. So today's the 19th. So can I give you an idea? Because sometimes you guys don't know, or somebody might not believe this. So guess what? I have the 20th. I have the 21st already. I have the 22nd. I have the 25th. I have the 26th. I have the 27th. I don't even know if there's a weekday, but I have another one, and I have another one. I have another one, and I have another one, and another one, and another one. All these topics are being downloaded, and I notice it's more and more. They're coming faster. I go to write in my gratitude journal what I'm saying. I have to go and put it in the morning blessing pages. I'm writing in my goal setting journal. I'm guided to that. I talk to my mastermind group and all of that, my angels and saints. And something is said to me. I have to go believe it. Thank you, Nancy. I have to go back and write it. And then one of them, I don't have that book with me, but one of them said, the more you write, the less your shoulder will hurt. And sometimes things happen to you and you do not realize it. Okay? Listen, my first book, That Monster, that one, I wrote it by hand, all by hand. I remember, though, my children had paid for a massage. And when I went to get the massage, the lady I said, my arm hurts. And she said to me, a young girl, and she said to me, you know, you need to write. It's telling me you need to write. At that time, I wasn't writing. But I still remember that. I love the massage. But what can you imagine? Listen to that, guys. That is different. It just came. I'm remembering it now. I loved the massage. I loved her energy. And yet, I never went back. I never, ever got a massage from her again. I remember the place. I remember she was a young lady. And that is all I remember. I don't know if it was a birthday or Mother's Day gift from the kids. They were still in university or high school. And the woman told me, the pain in your right arm, shoulder is from writing. You need to write. And you know what? I never associated it with that until maybe on the weekend in writing in there, it said to me, the more you write, the less pain you will have. And every day these things are downloaded, but it's coming fast and furious. So I'm taking the time to write it down. You see, there are 5 million of you watching right now, right? There's only 5 of you. But all God had was 5 loaves and 3 fish, and he sent it out in the world. So let's send it out. Have a great day. I thank you, Nancy. I miss Lynn, and I know you miss her too. And I'm sure she's watching us because I know she wouldn't miss the morning blessing, and she's going, here they go again. Anyway, and her daughter wrote such lovely things about her. Have a great day. Love you. Take care. And remember, guys, you are a counselor. Make it matter. Have a great. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye-bye.